Let's take you through the grid for the Junior Road Tax Heat. 18 drivers set to compete, and here is your starting order. Thijs van Wijk will start from pole position, with Boris Maximov alongside on the front row. Thomas Verheyen and Bran van der Weken line up on row 2 ahead of Lars Lambers. Those are the 3 drivers in the main competition with regards to the Grand Finals ticket. Luca van Leer rounds out the top 3 rows alongside Lars Lambers. Nu den Engelsman and Boris Verhaag round out row number 4. Completing the top 10, it's an all-Belgian affair courtesy of Lucas Dodder and Nicolas Machon. AJ Berghoff jumping up to juniors for the very first time, having run in minis for pretty much the entire season. Starts 11th, and he'll be on the inside of Lieke van Berkel. Jim Bach and Nicholas Nijs will complete row 7. Rounding out the 18-strong grid, 9 rows of competitors. Jake Menton, Tom Heger from Germany, Jort van Ekelen from the Netherlands, and Justin Fonk from Belgium. So, once again, for the heats, all the way through until we hit the official lunch break at around 12:45 local time. 10 minutes plus an additional lap. As I said, with regards to the heats do not count at the moment. This is quite nice with this format because it really gives the drivers an understanding of how the track's evolved since qualifying. And obviously the temperature has increased. Well, I got here at the circuit at about 8:30 this morning, 8:15 this morning. It was 13 degrees. We're now at 20 degrees centigrade. And Patrick Verbis saying, Allez Bran, so cheering on Bran van der Weken, who starts on the outside of row number 2. The field now at a crawl. No overtaking past the red line, just after the sign for going into the pit entry. So, Thijs van Wijk and Boris Maximov. An all Bouvin power front row. So they have to be at a consistent speed. And then when they go into the tram lines, they then can start to accelerate. But they've got to be very careful about staying in the tram lines. Here we go. Revs rise into the tram lines. Lights are out. And good start by Van Wijk on the front row, leading the field. Maximov trying to keep it pinned round the outside, having to use the runoff area to avoid any possible contact. Holds on at the moment ahead of Thomas Verheyen, the youngster from the NR Trommelke team. Through into the Europalan for the first time, 2 by 2. A little bit further back, just at the bottom part of the top 12. But Van Wijk's already bolted, and he's already through turn 8 as Maximov and Verheyen are battling away for 2nd and 3rd place. Now at a turn number 9. Some changes for position a little bit further back. I think I saw a positional change for 7th possibly. But Van Wijk leads. Maximov 2nd, Verheyen 3rd. 4th is Lambers. So Van der Weken has dropped slightly down the order. It's actually dropped quite a way as Van der Weken dropped all the way down to 9th. A very, very difficult first lap for the 296. Currently 5th in the championship standings. But Van Wijk leads by nearly a second. He was nearly out of that figurative, imaginary DRS range, let's say. And of course, the Singapore Grand Prix going on this weekend with this and a few more races to go to see who will become 2024 FIA Formula One World Champion. Not just the drivers, but also the constructors as well. But there is it's been a big old scramble because Van Wijk has bolted. That lead is going to be probably north of a second very shortly. But Nu den Engelsman is making good, steady progress. Up 2 places from 7th. Now runs P5 behind Lars Lambers in the 242. Van Wijk now has a lead of just over a second. Den Engelsman, fastest driver out on track, is the driver in P5. Nicolas Machon gets through on AJ Berghoff. That's for 8th place through at turn 2. So nice work by the 272 from GKS Lemons Power. So Berghoff is up 4 places. Jake Menton rounding out the top 10 now. The 231 has made up 5 spots and is in a possible window of opportunity for at least a top 8 finish. We've got 7 minutes and 25 seconds plus that additional lap to go. There has been a change a little bit further back though. And well, looks like Lars Lambers has got through and has passed Thomas Verheyen. So, an important change here. I think in terms of not just the racing aspect, but also the mental psyche of a driver. Even these young drivers, they put themselves under so much pressure to perform. You know, you look at some of the drivers that have come through junior road tax, like, say, Ethan Jeff Hall, who just recently, last weekend, took the FIA CIK World OK crown at Paul Felletter International. You know, other drivers such as Kai Gielaerts, Mike van Vugt, the latter of which is here. These days doing data engineering for Dams Racing. Joe Turney, Clayton Ravenscroft, Lewis Gilbert. The names, the list goes on and on and on. They've all gone on to bigger things. Jaden Teen, also very, very credible as a junior. We'll see him in action a little bit later on. Jake Menton has made a move on AJ Berggraaf and has got through. But Berggraaf's already taken the place back through the final corner. So it's like musical chairs at the minute. So Van Wijk leads by 0.776 of a second. So Maximov is starting to close that gap. And both he and Thomas Verheyen, who rounds out the top 3 now, having got past Lars Lambers, they set exactly the same lap time. Luca van Leer, the 284. Another exciting young prospect. New fastest lap for the 284 from the Netherlands. 56.189 on lap 4. So really, really good to see some of these drivers absolutely go to town. Van Wijk, however, might be starting to be reeled in. Bran van der Weyken down in 7th, has made a position past Nicolas Machon. So van der Weyken's got to start making some inroads now. I do remember, yeah, Bran van der Weyken. I'm going to use this comment again, like I did last time. And Bran actually mentioned me on social media, on Instagram actually. Small in stature, big in heart. Van der Weyken has been very, very impressive in a debut season. Of course, you've got drivers like Van Wijk, Maximov, who have been around for at least 2 or 3 years in this class before moving up. So the junior drivers, minimum weight of 145 kilos, driving anywhere between 12 to 15 years of age. They can be on the year of their 12th birthday in 2024 to start competing in this class. But really still good to see that these drivers are really picking up speed. Thomas Verheyen is really pushing now. 55.996 fastest lap on lap 5 by the 288. He's closing in on board as Maximov. AJ Berggraaf's now dropped outside of the top 10, courtesy of Jim Back in the 273. Running with Scott Svart's team, SR Solutions, whose engine supply is good old Jacob van Dijk, JVD Power. And every time I'm in the paddock, I always see Jaco either riding on his scooter or walking past me. So Jake Menton now up into 9th. Next on his list, if he can start catching that driver, will be GKS's Nicolas Machon, who's made it up from 10th, currently running 8th on the road. So we do have a time penalty. Nicolas Machon, 3 seconds for breaking formation with 1 or 2 wheels outside of the tram lines. So that is going to put Machon, oh, that's a big hit. That'll put him down to about 14th on corrected time if the race was to be stopped right about now with 3 minutes to go. But the gap is closing ever still. Boris Maximov, new fastest lap of the race on lap 7, 55.922. Gap now down to half a second. But the problem is that Maximov has 2 things he's got occupying his mind at the moment, which is, I need to pull away from Thomas Verheyen and not have to defend too hard from him. But I also need to catch up with Van Wijk, who's ahead of me. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place in many respects. And that is where the race car craft really, really comes into play. Gap has stabilised now. Half a second between the top two. Verheyen is about just under 2/10 behind. In second, Lambers fourth. Luca van Leer, Nuden Engelsman, Bran van der Weken now up to seventh. Nicolas Machon, despite having a time penalty hanging over him, which will be applied post-race, is still ahead of Jake Menton. But Menton is closing that gap. And Nicolas Machon could find himself at the bottom part of the top 15 if he's not careful. The driver from GKS in the number 272 really needs to pick up the pace because there's a trio of karts right on his rear bumper about now, coming out of turn number 11. So Van Wijk continues to lead. Lap 9 in the books. Top three covered by 5.4 tenths of a second. Thomas Verheyen in third. New fastest lap of the race, 55.880. But with just a minute and 10 to go, there is still an opportunity for these drivers to get through. And, well, sector one, the timing beam has been broken by Maximov, Verheyen and Van Wijk. Van Wijk leading. Van Wijk is the slowest out of the top three. However, is equal fastest in sector two. Leaders now about to come through and complete sector number 3 on lap 10. So that gives us 2 more laps of racing remaining. So we'll hit 12 laps at the checkered. Lap 11 underway. And the top 3 covered by 4.5 tenths. Now Van Wijk has got to have his head on a swivel or eyes in the back of his cranium right about now. Bran van der Weken, new fastest lap of the race, 55.869. And the 296 still running in 7th place. But the leaders making their way down into turn number 7. Lars Lambers is quickly catching the 3 in front. Van Leer's got clear air and is quite clearly pushing. Timer hits 0. 1 more lap to go after this. Who will be our heat winner in Junior Rotax? Well, we've got just over 1,450 metres to find out the answer to that question on the road. Thijs Van Wijk brings us on to the 12th and final lap. 10th and a half ahead of Maximov, who was possibly looking for a move up the inside, through at turn 2, and Van Wijk completely anticipated and actually went early to make sure he didn't get mugged. Thomas Verheyen is there, and there is Lars Lambers. And look at the freight train coming down the Europolan for the final time. Oh, Verheyen defends against Lambers going into turn 7. That's now going to be the squabble over 3rd place. And once again, Lambers tries to look through the inside at turn number 8. However, coming out of turn number 9 for the final time, Maximov now starts to move the kart left of Van Wijk to try and get the run through turn number 11. Oh, could this be the opportunity? Maximov swings it wide to the outside, tries to get the undercut. Oh, tangles with the bumper. He loses the back end. Oh, and Lambers on the grass as they come across the line to take the checkered. Holy moly. Talk about that for a grandstand finish. Thijs Van Wijk takes the win after 12 laps of racing by 0.134 of a second. Maximov and Lambers, wheel to wheel. Lambers, throttle fully pinned, nigh on 2 wheels on the grass across the line, and they take 2nd and 3rd respectively. Thomas Verheyen rounded out the top 4, covered by 2.5 tenths. Luca van Leer, Bran van der Weken, Nuden Engelsman, Jim Back, Jake Menton, Boris Verhaag, Lieke van Berkel, AJ Berggraaf, Lucas Stodder, Tom Hedger, Nicholas Nijs, Jort van Ekelen, Justin Fonk, and Nicolas Machon. Now, Nicolas Machon did not get past sector number 2. Well, I think, not too sure if there's a problem with the transponder, but Nicolas Machon rounds out that grid. But Van Wijk leads a very, very feisty second and third place battle over the line to take the win in the junior heat.